So for week 4, we're going to introduce feature lines and grading groups. Now I'm going to show a quick example of how we can use feature lines and grading groups to manipulate our surface. And what we're going to do is we're going to grade in this decel lane, the curb, the landscape strip, the sidewalk, and we're also going to grade in this driveway, the house, and provide the house with a nice, relatively flat backyard and tie into the existing ground. So the very first step that I always do is recognize my constraints. This existing road, I cannot change, I cannot raise, I cannot lower. I have to tie into this road. So I am going to trace the edge of pavement, and I'm going to extend this line to like about right here. I am going to create a feature line by just typing in create feature lines. You can have multiple sites, and there is a use for that, but for now we're just going to stick everything to one site. We're going to go ahead and erase the entity, which is just erasing the polyline, and then also we're going to assign elevations. When you have this checked off, this menu is going to pop up, and what we want is the feature line to insert many points throughout it and draw elevations from our surface. That's why I'm going to click here. When you don't click this line, it's not going to insert a lot of points to make sure the feature line is as accurate as it can be. So you're going to go ahead and click it, and you'll see it added a bunch of little dots, and what it's doing is inserting an elevation at that point. Another elevation, another elevation, another elevation. The more points you have, the more accurate this feature line is. The less you have, the least accurate. But you don't always want to insert these points because it'll dramatically slow down your file, and you honestly don't need it. I recommend that when you're tying into the existing ground to use these points. Otherwise, I would avoid. So the next thing that I am going to do is I want a 2% slope towards my new edge of pavement right here. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to click on this one, which is an offset. I'm going to do an offset of 10 feet. This side, and I want the elevation difference to be 0.2. And the reason why I did 0.2, all I'm doing is 10 feet times 2% is 0.2. So I'm going to go ahead 0.2. Very nice. I am going to clip this feature line at the radius return and at this intersection right here. I don't need this. I don't need this. Very nice. And then I'm also going to create another feature line. I'm going to break this here. Erase that. I don't need it. And then I'm going to break this. Then I can I'm pressing R just to remove these vertices. There you go. That should connect pretty well here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a feature line here. I'm not going to assign it any elevations. And then I'm just going to change this for consistency. I'm going here. I have little shortcuts up here, but you can just click on the feature line. This menu pops up, and you can click the very same symbol, which is this join button. And you join it with this one, and you create one feature line. Now I want this. Okay, it's 317. Why is it? Hold on. Okay, so a mistake has been made. So these feature lines, you'll be surprised how many times the elevation would automatically change. You have to be careful. You have to check everything at all times. I know that this is 322.21. I subtracted 0.2 from it, so this elevation should be, okay, I see what, so we can go ahead and say this is 322. That way it'll keep a 2% slope. And then this elevation is 321.86. That seems to align pretty well. These 2 points are meeting at the same elevation and connecting. So next, what I am going to do is run the same command, but I'm going to assign an elevation, and I am going to draw the elevation from this corridor and what that does, and I'm not going to insert any breakpoints. And what that does, this point right here matches this main road elevation, this corridor A elevation will match this right here. And then it's dropping down to 0. And then I need this point and, this point to be the same. So I see right here, you can kind of see it popping up. It's 323, and then it goes down to 0. All I'm changing is 323. Then I can go ahead and join these two. And we have ourselves one continuous feature line graded in pretty well. So the very next thing that I am going to do is grade in this curve. Now the curve is pretty straightforward. In Georgia, we have a 1.5 foot curve and a 6-inch height difference, or 6-inch step up. So this is how I was taught. You do 1.42, you drop it down just a little bit. So you have, from the edge of pavement to the curve, you still have negative slope. So the water is going from here to this, and eventually it's going to run off and hit a stormwater structure. So we have here, and then we do a 0.0 distance, and we do 0.5. And we jump right up. And then we do, make sure we cancel that, we do 0.5, 0, there you go. And pretty much what I'm drawing here, I'll show you real quick and paint, and it's not, I'm not Picasso, so it's not going to look that good, but pretty much we have oh, this is going to be so bad. Edge of pavement, ew. Oh, this is terrible. Hold on, let me try something else. So the cross section of this, actually I have an assembly. I don't even know why I'm trying to do all that. Here, it's much better. So this is our edge of pavement. This is our 1.42 distance. So from here to like about here, it's 1.42. And it does that slight drop down to the curve. And then we have the 0.08 offset and the 0.5 jump. And then we have our 0.5 and 0 elevation change. So you can rewatch that part of the video and it'll make sense once you put 2 and 2 together. So we're going to come back here. I want my landscape strip to be flat. So it's pretty straightforward. I know it's 2 feet wide, 0 elevation difference. Now the sidewalk, I always do a 2% cross slope. So again, I just offset 5 feet, and then I do an elevation difference. 5 times 0.02 is 0.1. There you go. Now we have our feature lines for the curve, landscape strip, driveway. Now I come here, I want to grade this driveway and the house. We're going to come here, we're going to do a nice little outline of the house. and then create feature line, assign elevation. From the surface, I want corridor A. I want these 2 points to match the elevation of our road. I'm not inserting any breakpoints. And then I can just see that I want, for example, this contour to wrap around the house like this. And then it's gonna go and it's gonna shoot out this way. I also know that I want this contour to shoot out this way, and then tie up like that. And really it's gonna be more like that. The reason why I know this is because I want the house to be above the road. So water will drain this way, right? I want water to be draining away from the house. I don't want water draining this way. Even though you'll see a lot of houses designed that way, those houses have stormwater management systems that capture the water before it hits the garage. But even if those, let's say, structures fail or they're filled up and the storm is massive, I mean, it can lead to flooding to the house, so it's best to avoid it. So, knowing that, I'm going to go ahead and take this and I'm going to come here. This is insert elevation point. This will be my 322, which is this contour right here. And then I'm also going to add, this is 323. This is my contour here, coming here. Then I use this triangle, which is set grade in between points. So this is here, this is here. This is 323. I want my finished floor elevation to be, and I'm typing in E to change the elevation, 323.5. And I want the entire house to be 323.5. I'm gonna come here, circle, 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 circle. I'm not clicking anything. And then 323.5. Now I go ahead and double check my work. Oh, same point, same point, same point. The grade is 0, same point, same point. Very nice. Then I come here and make sure everything is good. If you want a quick check, you can come here, you can go to elevation editor, and you can see that none of the grades are ridiculous. Sometimes a point is missed and you'll see a negative 50% or a negative 1,000%. Right? All my slopes make sense for what I'm doing. The next thing I'm going to do, I want the front of the house to have a turn down slab. And really what that means is it'll look something like this, where I have 6 inches exposed. The reason why it's doing that is because it helps out with the grading. So I am going to trace the front of the house. I'm going to do we'll do a 0.5 offset. I'm going to give this a little room because you'll see that the contour is going to come up and wrap around. And I want the contour to go in between these 2 lines. So I'm going to create a feature line. I'm going to erase the entity, and the elevation, you can tell I ran through this, is 322.95. That way you'll see that I don't want it to be exactly 323 because it just looks a lot better when you have the contour going in between the lines. Now I'm going to erase this polyline. Next thing is I am going to give this house a nice, beautiful backyard. I'm thinking, hey, I want to be generous. This guy's probably going to pay $1 million for this house. Let's go ahead and give him a 30-yard backyard. I want to go ahead and tie into the existing ground. So I'm going to draw this line right here, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to hit every single contour that I can so it ties in well. Now, for this exercise, we're just going to go ahead and tie into the existing ground and not worry about the rest of the houses. In the class, we're going to go ahead and grade the entire neighborhood. And this would not make any sense because you actually want these contours to wrap around here, to wrap around here, and to use the corridor strategically for the grade to tie in and for everything to make sense. What I'm doing now does not make sense for the whole neighborhood, but since we're just focusing on this house, it's okay for now. So the same thing I'm doing here, I just want to hit every contour that I can, and I am going to create a feature line. And then this, I'm not going to assign any elevations. What I'm going to do is I know that I want this point right here, from here to here, to be pretty flat. So I'm going to go ahead and assign this the same elevation as the finished floor elevation, which is the FFE. And right here we should be good. We have enough distance here that if we do have some contours wrapping around, it will still feel flat in this area. So the next thing is I'm going to go ahead, and this will be 323.5, will be flat. And we're going to go ahead and assign this. I'm picturing here, I would like about a 3-foot elevation difference. I think for 62 feet, that's pretty good. It'll feel nice. You're walking outside and it's a pretty flat backyard. So the elevation will be 320.5. You have a nice 5% slope. I'm just going to go ahead and do 0. And then I'm going to make this 322. Because I think this is, yeah, you know, a foot above, so it ties in well. Might as well just do this. We can do this at 321.75. Okay, so the next thing I'm doing, I want this feature line to tie into the existing ground. This is where grading groups will come in handy. Here, so let me just erase this. So I can go through the process again and show you. Okay. Now I think that's going to mess things up. Very good. So I open up the creation tools, and I'm going to go through the whole process again, which is first I create a grading group. I name it grading groups. Now you can name it whatever you want. I want to make sure this is checked off because I want a surface to be created. And then I always put on no display because I don't care what the surface looks like. And you'll see why. No display, no display. This looks good. And then the surface that I want it to tie into, I click on here, and it's going to be my existing ground. And then you have a lot of different options, and we'll go over these options in class. But for this exercise, I just want to grade to the surface. Then I click on this. I click on the feature line. Here's the side. I want the entire length to tie into the existing ground. I'll do slope. 2-to-1 slopes is that's the steepest that you can go. Very good. So now we have all the information created. We can go ahead and create our surface. I'm going to come here, right click, create surface. I always call my surface that I'm manipulating my finished ground, and then design, contours 1, 5, since our existing ground contours are also 1 and 5. Press OK. Then I am going to add, I click on the one feature line, I select similar, drop this down, right click, add. This menu is going to pop up. I type in all. I change this mid ordinate distance to 0.1. I press OK. And then I am going to right click, paste, grading groups. That's why I don't care what earlier when I said I don't care what the grading groups surface looks like, is because I'm pasting the surface onto the FG. So if I have both surfaces showing, it will be redundant. This is already providing me the information. Here we go. Now you can see that we're tying into our existing road pretty nicely. The contour is kicking out. It's coming here, it's wrapping around the house. And this is shooting over here, coming this way, driveway. Probably if I want it to be a little more realistic, it would be something like this. And then this is pretty flat. This is also coming here. We have a 2% cross slope. It shoots up because again, this is the curve. So there's a 0.5 elevation difference, and it comes back down and it ties into this contour. And then just to show you, we can just add some labels. Go to here, surface, slope, percentage. All right, let's exit this out. Let's do 2 points, so you can come here. 2.5% slope. This is 4.5%. You'll see here, this is that's about 50%, 2 to 1 slopes. It's flat. So this right here is our finished product. The house is graded, we're tied into the existing ground. It has a nice backyard. The house is flat, the driveway is at 2.5% slope. And you can see how the contours are aligning with the existing contours. So we're tying in pretty well. This is just gonna shoot out here. This shoots out this way. This comes here and shoots out that way. You can see this one right here. You can honestly just, if you want a prettier view, you can see here how it's turning out. There's a little gap here. We can fix that when we're fine tuning the surface with polylines. This is wrong and that can be fixed as well. But you can see it looks pretty good. And the class, we were gonna do this whole neighborhood, as I said earlier. And this is just a quick demonstration of what you will learn in class is how to use these feature lines, how to know when to offset them, how to make sure you're grading in correctly, you're using the right tools, and it's gonna be bumpy and ugly at first, but you will at least be exposed, and the videos will be online, the lectures will be online, the assignments will be online. You'll have access to everything you're being taught for the rest of your life, and you can review, you can go over it, you can master it. And I think that's the beauty, that the Academy gives you an opportunity to do it in person, to have someone like me review your work in real life. And there is no pressure that you have to make sure the client likes it, that it needs to be done right away. Are we going at your pace with seldom stress? And also, what people hopefully take away from this is that we're going to do this in class, and I'm going to record it, And you'll have this to go over again and again and again. So you can practice at home, you can practice after the classes are done. If, let's say you have an internship and you go a whole year without using CAD and you have a new internship in 2027 and you realize, I forgot how to do everything, you'll have this academy as a resource for you to go over things and make sure that you're prepared for that internship or the entry-level job that you'll get. And yes, I think this is a great opportunity for anyone.